Dobar dan svima vama koji se sada uključujete. Uživo ste na kanalu Radio Televizije Atlas. Pratite Pop Kvart, vašu dnevnu dozu kulture. Prva priča za danas dolazi nam iz sfere vizualnih umjetnosti i tiče se Picassa. Sada ćemo da odemo do izložbe koja se zove Drink to Me i predstavlja umjetnička dijela 22 umjetnika koji su svojim dijelima pokušali da predstave sopstvenu viziju o Pablu Picassu.
We're at Porter Contemporary, and it's the opening of Drink to Me, 22 contemporary artist views of Picasso. Picasso died on my birthday, and so I've felt this connection, not to Picasso, but it's always been in the back of my mind for my connection to art and art history. So since I've opened the gallery, which was 7 years ago, I have wanted to do a show about how artists today view Picasso. So we took submissions, so there were 13 artists from Porter Contemporary that I'd already worked with or currently represent, and then there are 9 additional artists that I'm working with for the first time.
I had no idea what I would do. I did this piece based on a Picasso, an iconic Picasso, where he took handles of a bicycle and a bicycle seat and put them together to make a bull's head.
At first I was like, well, I don't really go into the area of abstraction or cubism, and I kind of created a fun image of Picasso merging an iconic figure with an iconic skateboard graphic, presenting an abstract icon in a hyper-realistic manner.
With this, we went pretty literal in a sense. I mean, it's the Cubist thing, and basically we started because we found this frame and it had dust all over it, and we were like, let's start with this and then make something inside of it that'll work good. And we decided to do a portrait of Picasso when he was a child, and it was like, well, why don't we make the Cubist thing happen with the panel and cut it into pieces first, you know, to just add a little more dimension to it.
It seemed to fit perfectly in my mind because Picasso had a whole phase of his life, the Cubist and collage phase, where he used non-objective objects in his work that to him were complete abstract elements, and it seemed perfect for me because a lot of the magazine clippings I use have its own content and imagery, so I like the idea of bouncing back and forth between my overall composition and all the little images inserted within that.
Very much a womanizer. He had all of these personal flaws, which was also very important for me to invite some feminist artists to the show that I wanted to get their perspective.
I've heard that he was a real son of a bitch, so I don't really have any love lost for him. But I also think that he had balls, and you got to admire that.
I think the thing I appreciated most about it was it seemed like he was flipping the bird to everybody.
Somebody once said about one of his more abstract pieces that, I think it was an art collector, and he said, well, I don't understand this piece. And Picasso said, do you like shrimp? And the guy said, why, I love shrimp. And Picasso said, do you understand shrimp? And he said, no. When I was growing up, my mom always said, make the brushstrokes smoother, make it cleaner, it doesn't look, you know. So it made me understand it doesn't always have to be that way. Sometimes it can just come from the gut, like one's taste for shrimp.
A sad idemo malo do sfere dramskih i pozorišnih, tačnije umjetnosti. Poći ćemo do Broadwaya i čućemo razgovor sa dobitnikom Tony nagrade. Znate da su Tony nagrade najprestižnije pozorišne nagrade u Njujorku.
We're back with another edition of Play-by-Play's Show of Shows. I'm here at beautiful Chez Josephine Restaurant on Theater Row, and I'm joined by my friend and New York One colleague, Frank DeLella, and the Tony Award-winning Doug Wright, who has a new musical, Hands on a Hard Body. It's based on an obscure 1997 documentary about Texans wanting to win a pickup. That's where the hard body is.
Exactly,
right?
exactly.
And Doug, what made this sing for you?
They're wonderfully idiosyncratic characters who all have a very specific yearning for the truck. They're people who are locked in a competition around a truck for long, long hours, so there are plenty of interior monologues going on. And it also felt like the truck itself was a really potent metaphor. For one character, the truck embodies her religious faith. For another character, it's nothing less than his manhood. For a young girl who's never been outside Texas, it's a ticket out. So it was a beautiful metaphor that seemed to cry out for musicalization to me.
The music is by Trey Anastasius and Amanda Green, right?
Correct.
And Trey being a Fish, I mean, you know, he has a huge following in terms of his rock group, Fish, of course, one of the great bands of the 90s. Are you seeing new audiences with this piece, of course, which started out in California at La Jolla and now on Broadway?
We are. We see people come in with the occasional glow stick, but we're also delighted that we're getting, you know, matinee ladies and theater buffs and everyone else as well. But hopefully we are bringing a new ripe body of recruits to the theater. Trey, interestingly, is a real closet musical theater geek and grew up going to matinees from his home in New Jersey. And the first time I met him to talk about the project, he gave this really thrilling dissertation on why the overture to Gypsy is one of the seminal pieces of American music.
Doug, you're a Texan.
I am.
In
indeed.
what way did this sort of help you write this? Because it's your old stomping ground?
A great question, Patrick, because it's made the piece really profound for me and both a joy and a challenge to write because I have a very mixed relationship with my home state. So in a way, it was a great opportunity for me to forgive a lot of my beefs with Texas and celebrate a lot of what I really genuinely love about it.
You know, going back to the documentary, Doug, did you track these people down? Did you pull in terms of, you know, to create these characters for the stage?
Amanda Green said, we've got to meet these people, and I agreed. So we hired a private detective in Dallas, Texas to find these individuals who had appeared some 15, 20 years ago in this doc. And he was able to provide us with a list of names and addresses, and we got in a rental car at DFW and drove east into this town, Longview, Texas, and started knocking on doors. And it was remarkable to see the reactions it engendered. But 8 of the characters in the documentary are characters in our show, and they're all coming up to do the red carpet on opening night.
Have any of them seen it?
Quite a few of them were able to come and see it in San Diego.
And their reaction?
Benny Perkins, who's a pivotal figure in the film and played by Hunter Foster in the musical, said, I think this is the best musical since Paint Your Wagon. So it's funny, like normally you're so anxious about critical response to the work, and the paper I'm most nervous about with this particular piece is the Longview News Journal, because I'm writing about their town.
Thank you, Doug. Thank you, Frank. And thank you for joining us. That's it for this edition of Show Shows.
Poštovani gledalci, to je bilo sve što smo spremili za današnji Pop Kvart. Meni je ostalo da vas podsjetim da je takmičenje novih autora i dalje aktuelno i bit će tako do petka. Tema za ovu sedmicu je ljubav. Treba da šaljete vaše priče i pjesme na adresu noviautori@rtvatlas.tv. To je bilo sve za danas. Uživajte u ostatku emisije 5 do 5 sa predivnom Marijom Mašinović. Prijatno!